Easy to be sceptical about UFOs. Our perceptions are often shaped by the creative minds of Hollywood. But now come the real-life X-Files. Former top-ranking military insiders will tonight tell of experiences they simply can't explain. These are credible witnesses with extraordinary stories. Ross Coulthard convinced them to share what they know.
We're about 150 or 200 yards from the site. Everything else is just deathly calm. There is no doubt about it, and we're seeing strange lights in the sky. It appears to be maybe moving a little bit this way. Yes, it's better than it has been. It's coming this way. It is definitely coming this way. The pieces of it are shooting off. There is no doubt about it. This is weird. What is it? We don't know, sir.
We're standing there in awe, and all of a sudden, a beam came down right to the side of us. And I'm thinking, is this a warning? Is this communication? Is this... What is this, you know? What do we do now?
There was something which he and his navigator saw, and his voice was quite shaky. He said, I don't know what it was, but on radar it was climbing like the clappers.
These witnesses saw something real and solid. These are military witnesses, and these people, when they make a report like this and say, this is highly unusual, you can take that to the bank.
Inside the British Ministry of Defence, Nick Pope was cleared to read Britain's most closely held state secrets. As he was to discover, the ministry was sitting on its very own X-Files. In the early 90s, this former deputy director of the MOD was pulled aside to investigate the threat to British national security posed by UFOs. When you were asked to do it, did they sort of come up with a bit of a wry smile and say, I've got something for you, old boy?
I was effectively headhunted into that job. I was broadly sceptical. I certainly went in there having no expectation of finding little green men.
What Nick Pope found in those secret files was intriguing. But one incident left him questioning for the first time whether the truth really is out there.
The turning point was the Cosford incident. It was this point midway through my tour of duty where I came in one morning and the phones were ringing off the hook, and gradually throughout that day I put together this story of this amazing series of sightings that had occurred over a period of 6 hours.
On the night of 30th of March 1993, across southern England, reports flooded in of strange lights moving in a northeasterly course. They formed the outline of a massive black triangle. The most dramatic sighting that night was here around the Royal Air Force's Shawbury base in Shropshire. Multiple witnesses independently reported seeing not just lights, but a clearly structured black triangular craft which moved slowly overhead and then accelerated off to the horizon at impossible speeds. Now, the fact of this sighting is clearly recorded in the newly released Ministry of Defence files. But even more interesting, the investigators from the Defence Department were unable to explain that mystery, even to this day. Of all the accounts, the most compelling was filed by the on-duty meteorological officer at a nearby base.
He saw it initially move slowly towards the base, and he said it's very slow speed, maybe 30 or 40 miles an hour. And then he heard this low-frequency humming sound, which he said was quite unpleasant, rather like standing in front of a bass speaker. He said he could feel the sound as well as hear it. He saw this narrow beam of light firing down from the craft, and from this very slow speed, the UFO accelerated away to the horizon in seconds. And he described this to me as many times faster than a military jet aircraft.
And this is a credible military witness?
This is an Air Force officer with 8 years service.
And you believed it?
Absolutely.
Just there, it was moving in a northern direction, in the direction of RAF Shawbury. It was moving very, very slowly. The white light at the front, it was very erratic, emitting the light. And it was as if it was searching for something very, very slowly. And I stood there for at least 2 or 3 minutes and watched it just move so slowly. And then all of a sudden, you know, it just went off, just shot off, gone, poof.
This is the first time Darren Perks has publicly spoken about what he saw that night. In 1993, he was an Air Force cadet. His description matches exactly the one given by the RAF Met Officer.
Craft. It was defined against the sky. The sky was clear. The stars were out. This blocked out the stars. It was black, solid, triangular.
Neither myself nor my superiors at the MOD have any conventional explanation for what was seen. To this day, it's completely unexplained.
The British Ministry of Defence investigators even approached their American counterparts here in Washington, D.C. to ask them whether the US was doing any secret test flights in British airspace that might explain the spate of weird UFO sightings. The answer they got back from the Americans was even more intriguing.
They gave us absolutely cast-iron assurances that there was no such craft.
Let's say it was of extraterrestrial origin. Why would ET fly billions of light years across the galaxy and park itself over a RAF base in England?
Speculatively speaking, if these things were alien, I guess their motives, it seems to me, would be scientific study.
But crucially, you concede it's a possibility that it was alien.
Forgive the politician's answer, I can't rule it out, but I guess in strictly logical terms, of course I can't.
Convinced now that there was something to the sightings, Nick Pope launched a cold case review of UFO activity over Britain dating back decades. And what he found was a surprising number of cases where the ministry had no rational explanation for what had been seen.
Well, this document here is pretty impressive. This is the Assistant Chief of the Air Staff being briefed on a UFO incident where an object was assessed as operating over the UK, completely unknown.
This was something which we had never seen before, we couldn't explain.
Alan Turner is long retired. But in 1971, he was wing commander in charge of an Air Force radar unit that went on high alert after multiple objects moving at impossible speeds and heights were tracked on his screens. Turner ordered a bomber pilot to try to intercept.
He admitted that there was something which he and his navigator saw, and his voice was quite shaky. He said, I don't know what it was, but on radar it was climbing like the clappers. We didn't see anything visually, but it was definitely on our radar.
Would you have spoken out about what you saw that night while you were with the RAF?
No.
Why not?
Professional integrity. I was told not to talk about it.
Colonel Charles Holt was also worried that revealing what he saw would kill his career.
It certainly wasn't career-enhancing. How am I ever going to explain this? Nobody will believe this.
It was 1980, and Holt was the US Deputy Base Commander at the Bentwaters RAF